Welcome to Football Conspiracies.
I'm Jared Rabinovich.
And I'm Jared Cole.
This week's episode, The Madden Curse.
Okay, Jared, before we start this episode, I just wanted to bring something to your attention of how stupid the NFL is.
Okay, I'm all ears.
So every year, when just before the season starts and the preseason starts, the NFL drops their top 100 list of players from the season before.
Yes.
So recently, the NFL dropped their top 100 players of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to get your opinion on how you feel that the 92nd best player in the NFL last season was four-play Aaron Rodgers.
You're fucking kidding.
Swear to God.
That's just ridiculous.
It's so stupid. I don't know how you consider Aaron Rodgers to be a top, even 92 player after he didn't even get a completion.
And not just that. After that, it's not like he was like sitting on the sidelines calling plays. Like he fucked off to his like meditation retreats and stuff. Like he was busy like off field doing this sort of like was he?
Yeah, no, he wasn't.
He wasn't even out every game.
He showed up to the practices at the end of the season.
Well, yeah, when there's rumors about him coming back.
He stuck around with the team a bit, but like nowhere near enough to warrant him the 92nd best player last year.
Imagine being that 93rd player and being like, really? Yeah. I wasn't better than that? If you're trying to give him credit for the player he is overall, then he's way better than 92nd.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're looking at past career. Yeah, he's better than 92nd overall.
Yeah.
Even if you're looking at last season.
Yeah, he's top 5. Exactly.
Yeah.
But what's going on giving him 92nd for, what was it, 30 seconds of play?
Yeah, exactly. Not even. All right. We have Zaire Franklin. My boy Levante David.
That's crazy.
Oh, my God. Cam Hayward. Terry McLaurin. Deion Dawkins.
Like.
Julian Love.
Trevor Lawrence,
Harrison Smith, and those are all the people who technically top 100 players who are worse than Aaron Rodgers.
Imagine, like, I just don't see any standard where that's true.
Yeah. You only need to play 7 seconds in the NFL to be considered a top 100 player.
Like, what an insult, especially to someone like Trevor Lawrence, who, like, is digging this awful franchise out of the gutter.
Exactly. He's like actually has to put in like consistent performances if his team wants a chance at winning games, and he's consistently trying, and then you got Aaron Rodgers who plays 17 seconds.
Wow. Well, thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Yeah, I feel like it needed to be talked about because it was so ridiculous and so stupid.
No, 100%. This is a real good reason to be mad at the NFL.
All right. For this week, I'm going to be taking over the reins of the episode because I feel like this conspiracy theory is a little more up my alley than yours. Are you familiar with the Madden Curse?
I'm vaguely familiar with the Madden Curse. I think it has to do with the player that's on the cover of the video game each year. Am I on the right track?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So Madden, for those who don't know, is one of the longest running and best-selling video games franchises of all time. It is the American football video game. It was named after legendary coach and then legendary commentator John Madden.
Mm-hmm.
So each year, a new version of the game comes out where they update it with new rosters, new game mechanics. Sometimes they add new game modes, and sometimes they work on game modes they implemented years past.
Like every other EA money grab sports game that they got.
Exactly. And Madden, the way they release their video games is in 2024 this year, Madden 25 will be the game that is released.
Yes.
So every time I mention in the episode a year, I'm mentioning the year on the video game, not the year in real life.
Yes, makes sense.
Just for the viewers also, just to keep in mind that. Okay, so this is how the infamous curse goes. The player featured on the cover of Madden, like you said, is doomed to encounter something bad, whether it be poor luck, a decline in play, or a serious injury. This curse is superstition at its finest.
Of course. I think we've all heard of this, and I don't think the NFL is the only sports league that has this exact same curse, if I'm not mistaken.
It's the most serious. So, like the Super Bowl hangover, where
Yes.
it's hardest in football to return to the big game. When it comes to video games, you're more likely to be cursed on a Madden cover than in any other sport.
You know what? I like this. This is very spooky already.
So EA itself has actually publicly denied the existence of the curse.
Wow, I feel bad for like the PR intern who had to write up that shit.
EA also reportedly contemplated making it into a comedy movie.
What, the Madden Curse?
Yes,
a comedy
turning
movie?
the Madden Curse into a comedy movie.
The last thing I want to see, subject myself to for 2 hours, is a Madden EA made movie.
Yeah.
Horrible.
I don't even know how you could even plot that. But anyways, I'm going to review with you all the cover athletes from every single Madden game this episode. And me and you are going to discuss whether or not these players are cursed. And then we're going to look back and see how many cursed players there actually were and whether or not this stands to be considered legit or not.
All right, I like it.
The first year, 2000, featured John Madden on the cover.
Okay.
Because, of course. And legend Barry Sanders.
Okay.
So, right off the bat, you have one of the greatest running backs to ever play the game.
Yes.
After he was announced for the cover, he abruptly and unexpectedly retired in July of 1999, meaning he never set foot on the field after landing the Madden cover.
Whoa.
His departure was so shocking that EA used a different player, Green Bay Packers' Dorsey Levens, for the cover of the European game.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. Is there any, do we know why he ended up leaving?
That's a really it's really controversial why he did end up leaving, and I think I'm going to save it for an end segment episode just for the history buffs and sports and football fans.
Understood. I don't want to ruin a good story with a 20-second explanation.
No, all good. But either way, in the year 2000, the first game, I would say the cover athlete is cursed.
I would agree. That seems pretty cursed to me.
So we're going to move on. 2001, Tennessee Titans running back Eddie George. Eddie George went on to rush for more than 1,500 yards in his cover season. But he also lost a career number of fumbles and coughed up the ball to end the Titans season in a playoff game. He also never averaged more than 3.4 yards per carry.
I have trouble calling that one cursed, less than just weird statistics, no?
I would say it's cursed because you look at he had a typical rushing season yards wise for him, but he gave up more fumbles than he ever had, and he lost the ball on the play that lost the Titans a playoff game.
This just feels like awful coaching to me. Are you seriously going to put in your guy who's barely getting 3 yards a carry to be the guy who carries 1,500 throughout the season? That seems like shit coaching.
Well, then that's cursed player for having bad coaching.
No, we can't be going into cursed player for bad coaching.
100% we can. The point of this curse is that in the season where you made the cover, something bad happens to your season. And I would say that this is very bad to happen to your season. A career number of fumbles and the worst time to fumble possible.
This is definitely more on the edge for me than the last cover that we spoke about, but you know what? I'll give you this one too. Let's call that 2 curses for 2.
Okay, on to the next cover. 2002 Minnesota Vikings quarterback Dante Culpepper. After throwing 33 touchdowns and going 11-5 as a first-time starter in 2000, Culpepper took a nosedive during his cover season.
Ooh.
Injuries cost him 6 games. He fumbled 16 times and had a TD to interception ratio of 14-13.
Whoa.
He went 4-7.
Yeah, I'm definitely giving this guy the curse. Like that's abysmal season.
That's a curse.
Coming off of a cover season, like that's
Yeah,
it's pretty tough.
Exactly. Okay, now 2003 Rams running back Marshall Faulk. The Hall of Famer entered his cover season having 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons and 3 straight 1,300-yard seasons.
Wow. Okay.
In his cover season, Falk broke down, missing almost half a dozen starts and never topped 1,000 yards ever again in his career.
Wow. Okay, I'm giving you this one too. We're at 4 out of 4 here.
Okay, now we're going to go to 2004 Atlanta Falcons quarterback Michael Vick.
Well, you don't need to tell me this story.
Despite exploding into the scene as a number 1 pick, a fractured fibula less than a week after the game's release sidelined him for all but 5 games. 4 years later, he was in jail.
For very unrelated incidents.
Yes, but less than a week after the game with him on the cover released, he breaks his fibula and sidelines him for all but 5 games of a season.
I didn't even know that happened to him. And you know what? No love lost for him.
No, but I would say that's cursed.
That is cursed, certainly.
Okay, so before we keep going, I just want to say that the first 5 years, all 5 players were cursed.
Yes, I'm a little skeptical about that second year personally,
Okay.
but I give you 4.5 at the very least. It's sketchy. It's sketchy, no matter what.
Exactly. Okay, but still, it's this curse is starting to look a little.
We're in agreement here. Absolutely. Okay. I'm more convinced than I usually am this far through a theory.
Okay, so in 2005, we have Baltimore Ravens linebacker Ray Lewis. His interception total dropped from 6 to 0. And in his cover year, the Ravens missed the playoffs.
Wait.
But that's nitpicking. He still logged 147 tackles. If we were talking about the next year, there might be a case as he missed 10 games, but he was still unreal.
Yeah, I can't.
The only thing you can say is he went from 6 interceptions in a season to 0 interceptions in a season.
Well, I mean, do you know what was happening in Ray Lewis's personal life at the time of this game's release? I'm just wondering if there's any overlap.
Yeah, I think there could be.
I think there might be overlap with a couple court cases he was involved in.
Yeah.
I could be. Jamie, hit the computers. The Ray Lewis controversy was solved before this cover came out, which is understandable. I was just trying to see if there's a curse anywhere to be found. Gotta cover all our bases here.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so for Ray Lewis, though, I'm going to have to put him in the not cursed category.
Not cursed category, I completely agree. His
first
charges
one
were
so far.
dropped a year before. There's no way.
If anything, he's the opposite.
Exactly. That's a big year for him. But also, I was thinking, the Mike Vick to Ray Lewis back-to-back is pretty crazy in hindsight.
Yeah, that is a kind of ridiculous back-to-back for cover athletes. All right, 2006. Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Donovan McNabb. McNabb hit his peak in 2004, throwing 31 touchdowns and leading to the Eagles to Super Bowl 39. But 2005 was rock bottom as he scuffled with Terrell Owens and missed almost half of a 6-10 season. He went on to miss 8 games over the next 2 years also.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an obvious curse for sure. Not much discussion is needed on that one.
No, not at all.
Unfortunate. Feel bad for him.
Yeah. All right, 2007, Seattle Seahawks running back Sean Alexander.
Okay.
Like Falk, he entered his cover year with 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons under his belt. In 2006, his rushing total dropped from 1,880 yards to 896 yards.
Whoa, that's tough.
2 years later, he was out of the NFL.
What a sad story. To end up on the Washington Redskins as well, that's really the cherry on top, the salt in the wound.
Yeah, but that is a curse.
That is a curse. All right, so we only have one agreed upon non-curse already. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
2008, Titans quarterback Vince Young. He was Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2006. For his cover year, though, Young threw 9 touchdowns to 17 interceptions. Missed a game and earned a seat on the bench for 2008, never fully regaining his coach's trust.
obviously. They continued to play him after he had 9 and 17. 17 interceptions?
Yes.
That's horrifying.
Yeah, it's a lot, especially when you only throw 9 touchdowns.
That's what I'm saying. At least Josh Allen can get a few fucking touchdowns in between. God damn.
All right, so cursed.
Cursed. Definitely.
All right, next we have, in 2009, we have Packers/Jets quarterback Brett Favre.
Okay.
EA began by making Favre their cover athlete as a tribute to his Packers career, which had just ended. But then Favre forced his way out and into New York. All he did there was throw an NFL high 22 interceptions, hurt his shoulder, and then moved to Minnesota.
It's hard for... I know it's a curse. I agree that it's a curse, but I just have no sympathy for this motherfucker. Like,
he deserves to be cursed.
Exactly.
Definitely.
You know, like, yes, it's a curse. Do I give a shit? No.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we've made it through 10 so far, and we have 8.5 curses.
8.5 curses. That's a shocking hit rate.
Yes. All right, in 2010, we have... our first time we have 2 athletes on the cover.
Wow.
We have Arizona Cardinals wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald.
Okay.
And Steelers safety and my cousin's favorite player, Troy Polamalu.
Oh, of Head and Shoulders commercial fame.
Head and Shoulders commercial legend, Troy Polamalu. So, Larry Fitzgerald had one of his standard Pro Bowl seasons with more than 1,000 yards. So, not cursed.
Not even close, no.
Troy Polamalu missed a career-high 11 games in 2009 thanks to an MCL injury, recording a career-low 20 tackles before sticking to the sidelines.
All right, that's definitely a curse on Troy.
So 1 yes, 1 no.
Yes,
for
so
the curse
that's
category.
at, what, 9.5 for 12 now?
Don't worry, we'll get into the numbers. at the end.
Okay, you're keeping track.
Okay, in 2011, we have the New Orleans Saints quarterback, Drew Brees.
Okay.
Throwing 33 touchdowns and earning another Pro Bowl selection is pretty good stuff. But Brees had what was considered an off year when he graced the cover, throwing a career high and franchise record 22 picks. His Saints also lost to the legendary 7-9 Seahawks in the playoffs.
Wow. Oh, man. It's so hard to call 33 touchdowns cursed.
No, that was this... Yeah, I mean, 33 touchdowns is hard to say it's cursed, but when you set the franchise record in picks and lose to the 7-9 Seahawks in the playoffs...
That's what does it for me. It's the playoff loss. It's the 7-9 loss. Like, that... You cannot recover from that.
Yeah, so that's a curse.
He probably thinks about that every single day to this day.
Yeah, I'm sure Saints fans do as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Saints fans aren't very lucky when it comes to their playoffs.
Saints fans aren't very lucky in general.
Yeah, I know, but you think about, like, playoff specific, and you got, like, the Minnesota Miracle.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'll give you that.
And you got this loss, which is also
honestly
brutal.
Just being a Saints fan seems like just a history of tears and heartbreak, and that's coming from a Bills fan, so...
Yeah, you know what you're talking
Exactly. We know heartbreak.
All right, off to the 2012 cover. Cleveland Browns running back Peyton Hills. A quote-unquote Madden cult hero, Hill has worked his way to 1,000 yards as a surprise lead back in 2010. But during his cover year, he missed 6 games with an injury, averaged just 3.6 yards a carry, and ran his way into a journeyman backup career.
Well, yeah, that I don't know who the hell this guy is, and he landed a Madden cover. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And not just that. What the hell does Madden cult hero mean? I'd love for you to explain that.
All right, so the reason he was a Madden cult hero, this came after the fact.
Okay.
Because he had this spectacular season and then fell off.
I see.
Yeah, that's just the reason. And then NFL fans fell in love with him because NFL fans and sports fans in general like to fall in love with random
It's a Jeremy Lin situation. It's like you did really good for a little bit, then fell off, but you're still famous because everyone loves you for that moment.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah. Exactly.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, it's a 15 minutes of fame moment. Got it.
But either way, cursed.
Yes, definitely cursed.
In 2013, on the cover was Lions wide receiver Calvin Johnson.
Okay.
So if anyone conquered the curse, it was Calvin Johnson, who both had a career and a historic season the year he was on the cover. Like Barry Sanders before him, he retired relatively early a few years later, but the year he was on the cover saw him post a whopping 1,964 receiving yards.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's like Tyreek level stuff. Like, that's insane.
He was doing this before Tyreek.
Yeah.
This is the OG. But yeah, so I would not call this cursed.
Not even close. That is largely blessed.
Yes. Okay, in 2014, we have Vikings running back Adrian Peterson.
Okay.
So if Johnson shattered the curse, Peterson reignited it. Fresh off his 6th 1,000-yard season, 2 years removed from having a historic 2,000-yard campaign, he missed all but one game after being indicted on child abuse charges.
Well, you know what? Fuck this guy. Curse this guy. Yeah.
He's cursed.
Yeah.
2015, we have Seahawks cornerback Richard Sherman. His interception total dropped, and the Seahawks failed to repeat as Super Bowl champions. But otherwise, Sherman was still at the top of his game during his cover year.
Okay.
The season after his cover year, though, he had to get Tommy John surgery. So he lucked out on not being a part of this curse by waiting a year to get surgery.
I would say he's not part of the curse, agreed. And getting Tommy John isn't the most cursed thing ever. It kind of just is going to happen to a football player.
Yeah, exactly. And he came back and he wasn't quite what he was, but he was still a serviceable cornerback for
exactly
years still, yeah. But
hardly a curse.
Yeah. 2016, New York Giants wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr.
Oh, I know this one.
So there's a case to be made that the year Beckham made the cover, his wide receiver status started to go downhill a little bit, including his 1-game suspension after a fight with Josh Norman.
Yes.
But he still dominated on the field with 1,400 receiving yards, and that was on the 2015 Jets. So, I mean, can't really call a guy like that cursed.
I wouldn't call that cursed. It's him in hindsight's a little cursed. Like, the hopes for him were so insane, and he graced the cover with the single craziest catch I've still ever seen in my life.
Yes, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, so I understand why he might be talked about during the curse conversation, but you've just brought us the stats. That's not exactly. A curse.
No, not a curse. 2017, New England Patriots tight end Rob Gronkowski. The 5-time Pro Bowler was coming off another double-digit touchdown season, but he virtually missed all of the Patriots' first 4 games with a hamstring injury, then finished with just 6 starts on the season due to a herniated disc and other issues.
Yeah, that's pretty cursed for the big man, I will say.
Yeah, he was cursed. 2018, we have another New England Patriot, this time quarterback Tom Brady. With a chance to win his 6th Lombardi trophy, Brady was bested by Nick Foles. But he still threw more than 500 yards in that game, winning yet another MVP award, all at the age of 40. He's immune.
Yeah, agreed. I don't think Tom has ever had a bad season. If he came back today, he wouldn't have a bad season.
No, exactly. Tom Brady is the GOAT.
Well, yeah, of course. No one else likes to admit that, though.
You should. It's undisputed.
It's undisputed, and that's why we don't even need to bring it up.
Yeah, but we will. In 2019, we have Steelers wide receiver Antonio Brown. So one of the game's most gifted route runners, if I do say so.
For sure.
Antonio Brown, when he was in his prime, was one of the most ridiculous wide receivers.
Incredibly talented.
Yeah, so Brown scored a career-high 15 touchdowns during his cover year, but it proved to be a tumultuous one in the locker room, resulting in his trade to the Raiders. So the year he graced the cover was the year the whole Antonio Brown saga began.
Yeah, so that falls under the curse as we're deeming it, right? Good season, but
he only played another 16 games in the NFL, bouncing around, including to my Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yes.
But yeah, he's cursed.
Yeah, something bad happened the year he was on the cover. Yeah,
very bad.
That's a curse.
I just want to say that the last 3 players all played for Tampa Bay.
Wow, look at you. So cool.
Well, I mean, you got to be pretty good to grace the cover, and so Tampa must be a pretty good
Notice
team.
how none of them were on Tampa Bay when they graced the cover?
Oh, just wait.
Okay. Big talk.
In 2020, the cover athlete was Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
Rightly honored after a historic debut as Kansas City's full-time quarterback, Mahomes didn't slow down as a result of his video game cover. An injury cost him 2 starts and made his numbers look even better without them. He also went on to win his first Super Bowl at 24.
Yeah, obviously not cursed. We've yet to see Mahomes with an anything but stellar season, so
Yeah,
that's definitely a dud.
Aside from Tom Brady, I would say Patrick Mahomes might be one of the curse-free Madden covers.
Definitely. In terms of Madden covers, definitely curse-free. His career is curse-free so far, except for the whole, losing to Tom Brady a couple times.
Yeah. Well, especially when it counts the most.
Exactly.
All right, in 2021, we had Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson on the cover. Fresh off an MVP season, as an electric dual threat, Jackson would experience a downturn in his efficiency and durability a few years later. But during his cover season, he was just as star-studded, making his second straight 1,000-yard rushing campaign.
Yeah, another definite not curse.
Yeah, not cursed at all. In 2022, we have the two people we previously mentioned as non-cursable gracing the cover together with Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
So they shared the cover, and again, it wasn't even close. Tom Brady threw an NFL high 5,300 yards, 43 touchdowns at age of 44 while taking Tampa to the playoffs, while Mahomes casually tossed 33 touchdowns and had a 12-5 season that ended in the AFC title game. Neither of those players were cursed.
Nope, neither of them have seen a curse any day of their life.
In 2023, the cover was John Madden, so I just wanted to touch a little bit about him. The Hall of Fame coach and broadcaster died at the age of 85 in late 2021, and he returned to the cover of his famous series as part of a tribute for the 2022 season.
Because it was the 25th game or something, right?
So there's no curse here, it's just
honoring a legend.
Yeah.
Who's also afraid of planes. You knew that?
No, I didn't actually.
He was so afraid of planes that he drove to every game as a coach and a commentator. He would drive across America during the weeks between games because he was that terrified of airplanes.
That is so funny.
Yeah. Fun fact about John Madden.
That is a great fact.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, 2024. This is part of I left this one blank because I wanted to have a discussion.
Okay.
Bills quarterback Josh Allen was his 2023 season cursed. So I have here his stats.
I will put out here as a Bills fan before we get into this. How did Josh Allen make the cover of Madden? There's so many better players than him in the league.
I think you're underrating how marketable Josh Allen is.
But Joe Burrow, way more marketable.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't know. I feel like people know him.
And Bills are a very marketable franchise.
Yeah.
But
it's nice. And also, you've seen from this list, you don't have to be the most well-known player to get on a Madden
you're right.
cover.
I'll give you that. The
Peyton Hillis.
Madden cult hero.
Peyton Hillis, baby. All right, so the year before Josh Allen graced the cover, he went 13-3.
Yep.
Year he was on the cover, he went 11-6. His completion percentage, though, went up 3 percentage points.
Wow, that was him with a better completion percentage.
He threw 6 less touchdowns and 4 more interceptions, and had a 0.6% greater interception rating. He threw 23 more yards in 2023 than the year before.
Wow, big ups.
Here, I'm going to let you look at some of these stats, and you can tell me if he's cursed or not. Also, remember that the Bills didn't advance to the Super Bowl in any of his seasons.
Wow, thanks for reminding me. I had no idea. I would not call this a curse personally. I think it's a poorer showing than his cover season, or than the season before his cover season, but I don't know if I would call that a curse as much as like a man who desperately needs to get Tommy John surgery, but the team won't let him because we're so close to a Super Bowl and he's our only hope.
Yeah, basically, I would agree with that statement. Josh Allen isn't a cursed quarterback based on the Madden cover, but I wouldn't say he had a great 2023 season.
I'm not going to go to bat for his 2023 season. We all saw how it ended, and you saw my heart palpitations throughout. You know, he did not bring me any ease.
Yeah, no.
That being said, considering the things that we've seen for the past 25 covers before this is far from a curse.
Far from a curse, comparatively,
yes.
especially.
Just a poor showing.
Especially, yes. So, before we get into all the final numbers to let you guys know how cursed the Madden cover athlete actually is, I think we should also talk about the upcoming athlete.
I'm definitely down for some baking.
Madden 25 cover athlete is my fantasy football hero, Christian McCaffrey.
He deserves it. That is absolutely understandable. And
yeah, he's easily one of the most game-breaking players in the NFL that isn't a quarterback, especially.
100%. You called him earlier this year a cheat code, and I don't think I've ever heard like a better explanation of a player.
Yeah, I want to thank him for getting me first place in my fantasy football
Don't
league.
forget about Jordan Love.
Well, Jordan Love won me the championship. Christian McCaffrey clinched me first place.
Yeah, you're right. You know, Love won the battle. CMC won the war.
No, other way around. CMC won the battle, Love won
the war. Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, I don't know. This actually kind of makes me kind of scared because I'm worried
Is it a keepers league? Do you still have him?
No, it's not a keepers league, but I'm worried if I have the first overall pick, like, you can't not take Christian McCaffrey.
No, you'd be an idiot not to.
Exactly, but he's going to be cursed.
You know what? Considering how dominant he's been, I want him to be a curse-free player. Yeah. He's not on my team, and I know all that, but it's such a joy watching this guy just destroy 300-pound men on a weekly basis. Yeah. They're nothing to him. He runs around everyone like they're bugs.
Yeah, he knows how to dominate a football field better than anyone.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the final verdict. What will history say about the Madden Curse?
My quick overview of it is, at least it seems to me, like, the Madden Curse in those first, like, 10, 15 years, wow, that was going to hit you. But the past, like, 5, 10 years, it feels like it's been less intense. But enlighten me on the numbers. I don't think I was doing nearly as much analysis as you.
All right, so what do the final numbers tell us about how legit is this Madden Curse? You ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so to start off, there were 26 cover athletes in total.
Okay.
15 and a half of them were cursed, which is a 60% curse rate.
That's pretty high. It's higher than I expected, for sure.
Way higher than it should be. Like,
absolutely
crazy coincidences. I will add, though, of the last 10 cover athletes, only 3 of them were cursed.
That's what it seemed like to me. Like, the first 10 seemed incredibly cursed, and as we moved on further and closer to today, it seemed less and less crazy.
Yeah, and so the final takeaway is that the Madden Curse is a 60% chance.
It's pretty crazy. I'll give you that.
That's what I'm going with. If you are on the Madden cover, there's a 60% chance that you're gonna have a shit season, and I'm really worried because based on the numbers, Christian McCaffrey is almost destined to have a shit season.
I mean, you know me, and I think the listeners probably know me by now. I'm obviously gonna sit here and say that this is just a crazy coincidence, and things happen to these players, and this is 2 guys talking shit and coming up with a 60% number. That being said, I'm not going to sit here and say that that isn't weird as hell, and to not be skeptical to pick CMC in your upcoming fantasy draft.
Yeah, no, I will not base my fantasy football draft off of the Madden Curse, but I will take it into consideration.
You know that when you get the first pick and you don't pick him, he's going to have the greatest season he's ever seen.
I know. You have to take him first. You have to.
You don't have a choice. All right, listeners, welcome to the end segment that I'm going to be doing this week, weirdly enough. While doing research for this episode, I came across so many ridiculous stories I wanted to tell, and hopefully I'll have the opportunity to do a couple more end segments in the near future to share those with you, but this one just stood above the rest.
All right, I'm actually really excited to hear it, because of course I've done my research into these topics to bring you guys and segments from me, but I'm excited to hear what you found for your story.
All right, let's get into it then. So this story is about a player that you've likely never heard of before. His name is Ontario Smith. Ever heard of him?
No, I have not.
All right, that makes sense. And before I get into the actual story, I'll begin to explain a bit why you've never heard of this man. I'm first going to read the first paragraph under the section Professional Career on his Wikipedia page.
Okay.
Because Wikipedia just absolutely fucking dunks on this guy. This is crazy. Smith was selected in the 4th round, 105th overall of the 2003 NFL draft by the Minnesota Vikings. After the draft, he shaved the letters SOD, which stands for Steal of the Draft, into his head. His career in Minnesota and the National Football League lasted just 3 seasons, 2 active, 1 on suspension.
Yikes.
And
they don't even go into his active career. They just go, he got this into his head, he played 2 seasons, and then he left.
Isn't that so crazy? I took literally nothing out of that out of that paragraph.
That's so funny.
I didn't paraphrase at all. That is how Wikipedia wants you to learn about this guy. Look at this stupid-ass thing he did after getting picked 105th. Yeah, he actually was only here for 2 seasons. 1 he didn't even play.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and due to suspension, not due to injury. Yes. So, let's get into that. Why was Ontario Smith suspended?
I'm gonna go with, he did something on the field. Like, he, tried fighting a dude, or, used, some equipment as, a weapon.
Definitely nothing like that, but it's weird that you bring up equipment. Let's get into this. On the 21st of April, 2005, Ontario Smith was caught at the Minnesota airport by airport security with something that may have violated the NFL's rules on PEDs and drug testing. Do you have any idea what this thing that may or may not have been against the rules he was caught with was?
Is it the specialty from BMS?
You are so goddamn close.
Oh.
Explain to the listeners what that is.
Oh, it's fake penises that they pee through, and it has a filter system.
You fucking got it. The answer is a device called the original Whizzinator.
No way.
Accompanied by several vials of dried urine.
Dried urine.
How else is he meant to do it? You mix it with some water and it makes real urine.
Oh my god.
The device is made up of, like J. Cole was saying, a bladder, a support strap, which I looked up, it looks like a strap-on, and a fake penis.
Oh my god.
Smith allegedly purchased this device for $150 American in order to evade the NFL's drug testing rules.
So it only costs $150 to cheat in the NFL?
Well, if you don't get caught by Minnesota airport security.
How do you get caught? Is that illegal? Are you not allowed to bring fake penises? What?
I actually don't know the reason the airport security pulled him over in the first place. Because obviously you could bring fake penises on a plane. Yeah. I assume. By no personal experience. But I think what they are more concerned about likely was the dried vials of urine.
Yeah, that's probably a little sketchier.
Yeah, it's a little weird to be having, 1, vials at all, 2, filled with urine that is dried and not yours.
Yeah.
There's a lot of suspicious things going on. Not illegal, but definitely something that airport security might take an interest in. So the Whizzinator being found in the hands of Ontario Smith immediately became even more suspicious, considering the running back had already been caught twice in the past breaking the NFL's substance abuse policy. A 3rd strike in the NFL's substance abuse policy is an automatic 1-year suspension. If the league does end up deciding that this is a violation of the policy, he will be automatically suspended for 1 year. However, the league had never faced a situation like this, and the rulebook definitely did not have any provisions regarding the punishment that may be levied to a player who is found to be in the possession of a decoy schlong that could potentially be used to fake a negative drug test.
I guess they had never seen one before, so they had never thought to put it in the rules that you're not allowed to. So I guess technically he wasn't breaking any rule. Well, I guess PEDs.
This guy's a trailblazer. What do you... Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, from the AP, an NFL spokesperson said using the device during a drug test would be a violation of the league drug policies, but it is still not clear whether there are penalties for possessing one outside of a testing situation, which is totally fair.
Yeah, it's not like he was caught bringing it into a test, he was just caught having one.
Exactly, and you could jump a few steps to assume the only reason he would have a original Wizinator is in order to...
It's a good thing he went with the original and not a knockoff.
I know, thank God, yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess not for him. Maybe if he had the knockoff, he wouldn't have gotten caught.
I mean, he did have to shell out $150 for it. You think the knockoff might be a little cheaper?
Yeah, I mean, he's also an NFL player. He doesn't need a knockoff.
I guess you're right. Not an NFL player for long. So, how do you think the NFL decide to rule in this case?
I would just say strike 3, 1 year, boom.
You are right, but... considering the history the NFL has with allowing positive drug tests to be swept under the rug, I expected them to kind of do the exact same thing with this situation. My logic was, if it's so easy for the NFL to ignore something that's black and white, certainly they're not going to kick them out for something that's so gray. But I was mistaken. They actually did the right thing in this case, and they kicked him out of the league. Maybe one of my favorite folds in this story was the excuse Smith gave for having the Wizinator.
I guess this would probably be his defense against the NFL, and
Yes.
I'd love to hear what it was.
I was bringing it for my second cousin. Yeah, dead ass.
Second cousin.
It did specify second cousin in the article. There was no quote from him, but that is what the reporting said. He's bringing it for his second cousin, who I suppose lived in the place he was flying to, and maybe it just became a convenient excuse.
Still, I wouldn't buy it either.
It's pretty goddamn weak. So he did get an automatic 1-year suspension under the substance abuse policy. As a result, Smith missed the entirety of the 2005 season, and in 2006, with barely a month left of Smith's suspension, the Vikings released him, thus ending the infamous career of Ontario Smith.
That's crazy. And also, because he was not on an NFL roster to complete his suspension, if he ever does join an NFL roster again, he still has to complete the rest of his suspension.
Oh my God, I wasn't even thinking about that. That's so funny. And then, I want someone to hire him just so Wizinator articles hit the press again.
No, they never will.
Well, I mean, this guy's like in his 40s now.
We're bringing the Wizinator back to the public eye.
Exactly, hell yeah. Bring back the Wizinator. Free the Wizinator. Thank you for listening to this week's episode.
You can find us on Twitter/X at FB Conspiracies, where we will post all the graphics we spoke about during this episode.
You can also reach us by email using fbconspiracies@gmail.com.
A special thanks to Blaze for the intro and outro music.
If you enjoyed, consider leaving a review.
Join us next week for more football conspiracies.
Week's episode name. It makes more sense. It makes way more sense, but I'm so jealous that you get to say it and not me.